Alright, so today I'm going to run through how to troubleshoot. This is a 185S. We're going to troubleshoot a no spark issue on this. And I'm going to go through it quickly just to save you other guys a lot of time. First things first, we'll obviously start with the spark plug. So you're going to need to get yourself a meter, one of the most valuable tools to have in your shop. And we're first going to test the plug to see if it's any good. So you're going to set your meter on the highest resistance reading it can, and there should be no connection between your lead and the body of the plug. And as you can see, this plug looks good. Now you can clean it up also to make sure that it's not too carboned up and causing it to also foul or not spark when under compression. Next, we're going to move on to our coil. Also, after testing your spark plug, you're going to want to test your spark plug cap. Now this is a resistance plug, so as you can see there is continuity through it, but it's about 1000 ohms resistance. Some of them are 1.5, this is around 1.2. Anyway, I know my cap is good. Some of you may have a spark plug cap with no resistance, but as long as you have connectivity through it, then you're good to go. Alright, so I have the tank off this machine, and this is your coil underneath the tank here. And this is the end that goes to the spark plug. I have pulled off the spark plug cap. You'll want to do that to test this. And this is also the lead from your little CDI box here that sends voltage when this coil needs to spark the plug. So we're going to start by testing that. So you're going to want to put one end of your lead into where the spark plug cap threads in, and the other end into the tab here coming out of the coil. And when you do that, you should get around 3.8 thousand ohms. Now if you start seeing that around 2.7 or lower, then you probably have a coil that is breaking down inside, and it's time to replace that, and you might experience weak spark. One other thing I want to mention is that if you're testing and you do not have connectivity or any resistance through these two, then you may want to check the connection in here or this cable. Maybe the end's corroded or broken off. You want to unthread it here and then test from the lead in there and to this tab here and see if you get your 3.5 thousand ohms or whatever. So we have checked our spark plug, it's good. We have checked our cap, it's good. We have checked our coil, it's good. One other thing we'll check is our on-off switch here on this bike. So the connections are actually inside the headlight here, which I've taken off, and on this bike it is the black and green wires here. So I took my meter and I stuck one lead in here and one lead in here, and I flicked the switch on and off, and it showed me there's connectivity. So I set my meter on here so that when the two leads have connection, they beep, and that's how I was able to check the switch. Alright, so when testing the on-off switch on the bike, you're going to want to set your meter on the green wire and the black one coming in your front headlight here from this switch. And I've got my meter on resistance but to beep. So when I flick the switch off, it grounds it out. And when I flick the switch on, it doesn't ground out. So I know that this switch is functioning. So that switch, the on-off switch, tells this box to allow the machine to fire or not. So you have to make sure that that switch works. Now, moving on, we're going to go down to our stator. maybe we're not getting voltage from the stator to even make spark. So you're going to pull off this nut, use an impact, and then you're going to use a puller like this, or you can pull this whole unit off here and you can try and use a steering wheel puller. Both methods do work. This is the best method. If you can get a flywheel puller, it's great. It's a tool you'll use over and over. So now we'll pull off the flywheel. You'll want to clean that up. Sometimes they can get really rusty. Water can sit in here. Water is the cause of usually stators when they fail. So this is our coils here, and I'm going to show you how to test those. Alright, so I have the stator off. I also completely disassembled it just so that you guys can see really how this is laid out. So you can actually test this before even pulling the stator off the machine, because you can access this plug right here on the machine. So first you'll want to test continuity between the yellow and green wires, which is this coil here, and then you'll want to check continuity between the black wire and the ground, and which is basically right here on this coil. But if you were up here on the machine, you would just find a good ground and test between the black wire and the ground. So we'll do that now. Okay, so I know this coil is not broken and it is still good because we're beeping on our continuity test here between the green and yellow wire. And that is the coil that provides spark for the machine. This coil provides the 12 volt power for such as your headlight and brake light. Alright, so I have the new coil here, and as you can see there's a resistance of about 360 ohms, we'll say. But on the old coil, when I test between where your wire comes in and at the other end of the coil here, there is no resistance. This coil has broken inside. So we're going to just replace this. This coil is still good, so I'll keep this as a good spare for possibly another bike. Alright, so we have the old coil off. We've soldered on the new coil, and you see just a final test, black wire to ground, and we're getting our 360. So this is ready to be put back on the bike. One last thing I want to note is take the time to wire wheel your screws, clean them up, and also wire wheel up your stator plate here. And the reason is that these coils ground to this plate, so you want clean surfaces so that these coils have a good ground and you get good spark.